Nancy's Chance. It was a beautiful summer's day on the island of Sodor. Skarloey was dozing peacefully as Nancy polished him. She was a conductor's daughter and often helped out around the railway. Skarloey stirred as Nancy finished and hopped off his footplate. "A job well done as usual," the old engine yawned. "No one shines brass quite like you, Nancy." "I wish I could do more," Nancy sighed, looking downcast. Skarloey was puzzled. "Any more and you'd polish my paint off." "Not that," Nancy replied. "I mean more around the railway. I want to help run the trains. Dad's been teaching me to be a conductor. Ensure tickets are punched prominently, double check the carriage doors, keep your whistle sounding crystal clear." Skarloey chuckled. He loved how enthusiastic she was about the railway. "Even so," sighed Nancy, "Dad says I'm too young. It's not fair. I've grown enough to work the refreshment stand by myself." Skarloey smiled kindly. "You're very capable, my dear. I have no doubt you'll make a fine conductor. Your chance will come before you know it." "I suppose," Nancy sighed again, turning to leave. "I just wish I knew when." Skarloey was disappointed. He wanted to help Nancy, but for now he had a train to pull, so he hurried off to the station. It was a sweltering day. Skarloey puffed and panted up the line, but the heat made the journey difficult. When they reached the first station, he was thankful for the rest and the shade. His crew were so hot that they had to take off their jackets. "I don't remember the last time it was this hot," sighed the driver. "Skarloey's fire certainly isn't helping matters," grumbled the fireman. The conductor wasn't pleased with them. "While on the clock, gentlemen, my full uniform will be staying on, regardless of the temperature. You should do the same." He turned and walked sternly back to his van. Speechless, the crew retreated to the cab. It was a hard journey, but eventually Skarloey arrived at the lake station. Nancy was there, working the refreshment stand. "The refreshment lady's gone to town for more ice cream," she remarked to the old engine. "I hope I have enough for all your passengers." The conductor emerged from his van, looking wary. "Are you all right?" asked the crew. They got no answer. The conductor fainted and collapsed against them. Quickly, the crew and some passengers carried him to the shade of the refreshment stand. "Lot of good that full uniform did," sighed the driver. "Being cramped in that stuffy van likely didn't help," added the fireman. "Stuffy?" cried the van. "Why, the nerve!" Skarloey hushed the van at once. They telephoned for an ambulance, and soon the conductor was on his way to the hospital. However, another problem arose. "How will we make the return journey without a conductor?" wondered the driver. Now the passengers were worried. "We can't miss our connection." Skarloey smiled. "Why not let Nancy try? I'm sure she could manage the trip back. She's been learning well." The driver wasn't sure. "Could land us in a heap of trouble," he said. "Clifford has been teaching her," the fireman pointed out. "Do you think she could try?" "She'll see you back safe and sound." Everyone turned to see the refreshment lady, back from her shopping. "I've heard all about the training she's been having. She's more than ready. Besides," she added, "would I leave her in charge of the shop if I didn't think she was capable?" She leaned towards Nancy and whispered, "Go on, dear. You can do it." "Of course I can," Nancy smiled confidently. It was soon time to leave. Nancy punched the tickets prominently, double-checked the carriage doors, and gave her whistle a test blow. Skarloey answered with his own whistle, as if to say, "Ready when you are." "Let's have the best run of the day," smiled the driver. "Then we'll have a story to tell your dad." "I only wish I looked more like a conductor," replied Nancy. The driver paused a moment. Then he took off his cap and placed it on Nancy's head. "It's a start," he winked. Soon, everything was ready. Nancy gave a confident whistle and Skarloey set off. They were having a lovely journey. People waved as they passed, and the passengers were impressed. Then, "Stop, Skarloey!" shouted Nancy, and she blew the whistle. Skarloey came to a quick halt. "What's the matter?" he asked. Nancy pointed to a farmer's field. Through a broken fence, a herd of sheep were frantically running their direction. "Good eye, Nancy," he smiled. "I hadn't even noticed them." "Nor we," said the crew. They did their best to herd the sheep back through the fence, and as soon as the farmer came, they set off again. They arrived at the station with little time lost. The Thing Controller and Nancy's father were waiting. "Oh dear," she worried. "What will they say?" "Your Nancy," enthused the passengers, "is a hero. We'd have been stranded without her. And I shudder to think what would have happened if she hadn't spotted those sheep," added Skarloey. "Nancy," said the Thing Controller, "you really are a credit to this railway, stepping in and doing what was needed to get the passengers home, the mark of a true conductor. I suppose we'll need to get you a proper uniform." Nancy beamed. Do you mean it, sir?" The Thing Controller smiled. "You've already had your first day, and more than proved yourself. Although," he trailed off. "Yes, sir?" she asked anxiously. The Thing Controller was silent. "Skarloey," he said at last, "you'll manage without having your brass polished every weekend, won't you?" Everyone laughed. "Only if you make sure Nancy is my conductor, sir," the old engine beamed. Nancy's father gripped her shoulders. He leaned in and whispered, "You know how to prove a father wrong. I'm so proud of you." Nancy had never smiled so big. "Now," her father boomed, "I'd say we need to celebrate." "Hear, hear," added the crew and the Thing Controller. With the sun setting in the distance, they parked Skarloey in the shed, then headed off to the crew quarters. Skarloey smiled as he watched them go. "You see," he said, "I told you your chance would come."